Hello there, you're familiar with skins, right? You're subscribed to an Oster Skinning YouTube channel, obviously you are. You've seen tons of cool skins on both ends of the spectrum, the artsy ones and the MLG Pro ones. Today though, you'll be witnessing something new. You see, I'm pishifat, a mapper. I'm no skinning connoisseur. I don't know what makes a skin cool or effective or pretty or whatever. My personal skin is a mishmash of random elements that I've either created or stolen from other skins, and I've never actually used someone else's skin for more than a few minutes. I'm a skinning amateur, and contrary to logic, I'll be guest reviewing a skin today, Matthew Robo's MNS, which is... So, okay, I'm reviewing a replica of my own personal skin, one that's way more polished than my own garbage, I hope. Let's see how it holds up. The main goal of my skin is to be as unintrusive as possible, and this skin seems to understand that fairly well. There is no visible back button, these menus are labeled by key bindings, and all score rankings are simple colored lines. Right-clicking on a song reveals this menu, which is completely devoid of any button images. The mod icons keep the same nonsense color scheme I had in my old skin, while looking a ton neater than my Microsoft Paint scribbles. This is a clearly minimalistic design, which I do appreciate. If I were a real skin reviewer, I'd give this a 5 out of 5. However, I'm not. I really don't care about any of this visual stuff. I'm a mapper, and so the song select menu of this skin immediately frustrated me. Half the time I'm in the song select menu, I almost immediately transfer to the editor. It's just what mappers do, you know? By right-clicking on any song here though, I can't actually go to the editor. Every button below removed from unplayed doesn't work, including the most important one, edit. This is because the button left and button right skin elements are 1x1 pixel images, which for some reason completely breaks these buttons. As a mapper, I can't give this a positive score since it's legitimately a pain, so I'll go with 2 out of 5. I care a lot about my buttons. The ranking screen sticks with the same minimalist theme. It's just a blank screen with essential information about a play. Considering this is just as solid as a song select menu visually and it doesn't have anything that could kill it for me as a mapper, I'll actually go ahead and give it a 5 out of 5. It's as effective as I wish any ranking screen could possibly be. Next, gameplay. I'm sure this is where everyone would mark this skin down. For one, this cursor is retarded. It's a repurposed monochrome hit circle which requires a 0.93 times size multiplier and automatic cursor scaling enabled. This cursor is meant to match with other hit circles in game, which I don't think any other skins do because, well, it's stupid. Why would you make your cursor an empty ring when every other proper skin is the inverse? And why would you choose for it to blend with hit objects? In the skin creator's defense, this wasn't really his choice. This is pretty much the exact same as my original skin, and I do understand it's probably uncomfortable to play with. The thing is though, why does that matter? Maybe this is a weird viewpoint for a channel that has two main skin types, artistic and gameplay oriented. You'd think the minimalist design would make this a gameplay oriented skin, but it's not. It's not really artistic either since it's not using any fancy images or animations or anything like that. Rather than me going, oh yeah, the HP bar is simple, the font is nice, the pause screen is clean, and so on, let's look at where the skin is actually meant to be used. The editor. This is where I spend most of my time, so naturally my skin and therefore a clone of it should be well suited for it as well. The editor is the reason for these barely visible slider ends. I don't really like the appearance of slider ends, but I know they're necessary elements to see while mapping, so in this skin, they're low opacity hit circles, the best compromise around. Speaking of hit circles, they're transparent in the middle to make stream spacing easier to view. It's possible to see minor spacing inconsistencies based on the amount of transparency or color visible between objects, which isn't possible with a solid hit circle. This skin specifically has a few problems in my opinion when viewed in the editor though. For one, that transparency effect is kind of ruined by the shaded center of objects. It's not unworkable, but it's kind of frustrating to not see a clear view of circles. More importantly though, this skin commits a cardinal sin of mapping. It uses skin-specific hit sounds. While I'm sure every other skin uses some of it as well, mappers exclusively use default hit sounds when creating maps. That previous button issue comes back here again too. The insert break time button activates anywhere within this right side region, plus a similar thing happens with buttons in the upper right of the timing tab. So some gameplay elements here are decent for mapping and others are kind of problematic. You probably want to see some actual gameplay though, so a few things I want to compliment about that are the 150 images. They're quick animations that are barely noticeable, which is great since I have those images disabled in my personal skin. They're non-intrusive and I like that. Additionally, the object numbers look nice, though the 5 looks uncomfortably close to an upside down 2. I don't know, that's just me nitpicking though. As for the rest of the elements, I've got no real opinion, so 3 out of 5 for this section. I'm used to the retarded cursor, and during gameplay the skin actually works pretty well on the minimalist idea, but it's still problematic for mapping compared to what I prefer. Overall, this skin is supposed to be a clone of my own skin, but I have a feeling that's not quite what it achieved. This is more so a skin for players who want to experience my personal skin, just in a more playable way. I think it did well in that respect. My own skin is more focused on mapping, but this one leans a bit more towards a player perspective. While as a mapper, I'd give it a pretty low score overall, as a player, I'd maybe give it a strong 3 out of 5 towards the gameplay-based side. It's a simple, focused skin aiming to be as unintrusive as possible, but there's a few elements that may be off-putting for anyone not used to them, plus some extremely minor problems. It may be worthwhile to try out the skin, but honestly, it would only be for the novelty of it. Anyway, there's a link to the skin's download in the description, and that should cover my time here as a guest reviewer. I've been pishifat, thanks for watching, and goodbye.